Hey, everybody, welcome back to A Late Show. Let's check in with our friend, Mr. John Baptiste. Hello, John.
Hello, Stephen. Woo! Come on, season 6. Let's go. Let's go.
That's right, first show of season 6.
Let's
Thank you.
go.
Thank you for being here for this long, strange trip.
Oh my goodness. A Late Show has been quite a show. This is the time we're in. Woo!
Give my love to your family and
Yes.
and all your loved ones.
Of course. And you know, likewise, let's stay loved up. Let's stay strong. Come on. And push till November. Come on, everybody.
That's right.
Y'all
Be
know what I'm
brave,
talking
everybody.
about.
Go vote. Can you
You
hit
know
us?
what I'm
Give
saying.
little voting music.
Hello. Gotta go vote. Gotta go vote. You gotta go vote.
I hear a hit. I hear a hit, baby. John Baptiste, everybody.
Later on. Have a good one.
Joining me tonight is a two-time Pulitzer Prize winner whose name is synonymous with investigative journalism. His latest book on the Trump administration is called Rage. Please welcome back to A Late Show, Bob Woodward. Bob, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Please, let me get a word in edgewise here, Bob. Don't drown me with words. Now, this is your second book on the Trump administration. You were here a couple years ago for the book Fear.
That's right.
Okay, so first one was Fear. This one's Rage. What's the next one going to be called? Just chaos?
Well, he'd have to be reelected for me to do another book. And we don't know. He could win.
He could, Bob. That is exactly true. He could. He proved
Yes.
that the last time.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, though the interview is off to a happy start. Okay. Last time I asked you why people talk to you, Bob. And I'd like to ask again, why do you think Trump spoke to you this time? Because he didn't talk to you last time.
That's right. But and he regretted it, he said. And I think some people told him, he denounced the first book, Fear, and said, "Oh, I'm a Democratic operative." And it's not true. And I think some people who work for him said, "Mr. President, it turns out it's all true." And they told him that I would not put words in his mouth. I would give him a fair shake. And in Rage, I think 15 to 20% are quotes from him of my 9 hours of interviews with him.
Well, even though his staff may have said to him that Bob Woodward will give you a good shake, one of the aspects of the fallout of this book, because it's not a glowing portrait of the president here. Spoiler alert
No,
to
it
everybody
is
who
not.
has not read it yet. I have two copies. I have the pretty one here. Then I have the one that I actually read, and the cover just burst into flames at one point, and I had to throw it away. It is it can be pretty scathing at times, even from you directly, and some of his staff are basically throwing each other under the bus and saying, "I don't know who let him speak to Bob Woodward. I wouldn't have let him speak to Bob Woodward." Did anyone try to stop you from speaking to the president?
No. What happens, and we know this, and this is part of the portrait of him. He's a one-man band. He decides. It's the impulse, and in a way, I think around the White House, he doesn't drink. I think that's true. He's the night prowler, and he's looking for something to do, and he picks up the phone and calls people. And he called me, and I talked to him 19 times. About 7 of those he initiated. I had to run around the house with one of those Olympus tape recorders in case he called. And one time he called, and my wife Elsa picked up and said, and he said, "Is Bob there?" And she said, "Who is this?" And he said, "Donald Trump." And she said, "Oh, okay, I'll get him."
Nixon, to drop a name you're familiar with, was famous for calling people in the middle of the night, sometimes when he'd had a cocktail or two. Is there anything about Trump wanting to talk to you that's reminiscent of Nixon's own insecurities and the way he would call people in the middle of the night?
Well, I had a great advantage here over 10 months, all of those interviews. I could prepare questions, I could think about what was going on, try to dig into, because in a very interesting way, which I did not fully appreciate it, because normally presidents that I wrote books about either wouldn't talk to me or would do one interview with the press secretary sitting there with an igniter light if it got out of hand. and so this was a full engagement, and the microphone is really like a microscope. I didn't realize that. It's not just words. If you read the words, they have one meaning. And if you actually do it in a way where you're letting somebody go on, and he tends to go on, you are looking at something more than the words, because there is an attitude or an energy or a disgust. Like when I asked him about the Black Lives Matter movement and whether he understood, as a privileged white person like myself, if he comprehended the anger and pain that Black people feel. And he just said, "Oh wow, you should hear yourself. You drank the Kool-Aid, uh, scorned me, ridiculed me. On paper, that's one thing. When you hear the voice, it's much larger than the words on the page."
Well, speaking of which, you have brought a clip for us to hear tonight, and we call this an exclusive in the business, Bob.
Yes.
Okay, so let's blow the lid off of this. Can you set up what this clip is about?
This is the one where he's in the Oval Office.
Yes, sir.
And it's in April, and he tells me what happens when somebody sneezes. And we all live in a world where there are people who sneeze, and if you have the audio of it, and this is the first time it will be played, it's quite revealing.
Okay, do we have this? Can we play this? Let's hit it, Jim.
And Bob, it's so easily transmissible, you wouldn't even believe it.
I know.
I mean, you can be in the room. I was in the White House a couple of days ago, a meeting of 10 people in the Oval Office, and a guy sneezed innocently, not a horrible,
Yes.
just a sneeze. The entire room bailed out, okay, including me, by the way.
Well,
So
I know
here-
he's making light there at the end, but at the heart of that is something extraordinarily shocking.
Yes. And I mean, here he's saying, and because as you know, he's downplaying the virus, but so he's in the Oval Office, someone sneezes, and he bails out. He goes running out. Last night in Nevada, when he was going through that rally, I mean, God knows how many people there, all packed together. I wonder if someone sneezed in the front row, that Trump would bail out again and get out of the way. Anyway, this is too serious a matter. We really, as you know, 190,000 people have died. And my reporting shows that he knew back in January 28th, when an extraordinary meeting, maybe one of the most extraordinary meetings in the Oval Office I've reported on for about 50 years. And that is when his national security advisor tells him that the virus is going to be the biggest national security threat to your presidency. And then the deputy, Matt Pottinger, who had worked in China for 7 years for the Wall Street Journal, gives specifics about how dangerous this is, how easy it is to be transmitted. And it's extraordinary that at that moment, the man we elected to I once asked him, what's the job of the president? And he said, the job is to protect the people. I agree. I think most people in this country would. And he failed to protect the people. He failed to find a way to tell the truth.
Bob, we have to take a quick break, but stick around, everybody. We'll be right back with more of the author of Rage, Mr. Bob Woodward.